We are halfway through 2021, and the lineup of cell phones for this year was just as breathtaking as ever. We got to see the Samsung Galaxy S21 series with their always impressive specs, OnePlus getting out their 9 series with some jaw-dropping numbers, and there was even Sony giving us their ever-professional style camera that beats out the competition time and time again. And while those top-of-the-line phones are a super nice addition to have in your pocket, many of us just don't have that kind of money to be shelling out the thousands of dollars needed to have that kind of cell phone. But don't worry, folks, there are still plenty of budget phones coming out soon enough that you'll be able to pick up and use for your daily driver that won't end up costing you an arm and a leg to have. Here's our top 3 picks for the most popular budget cell phones that have either already come out or will be coming out for 2021. Beginning our list of upcoming cell phones, we have the Doogee N40 Pro. While they are a relative newcomer to the world of cell phones, Doogee is by far no one to shy away from, as they have actually been proving themselves to be just as good as any of the major competition in the market. Just from the initial looks of the outside of the phone, the 6.52-inch HD Plus display with 720 by 1600 pixel resolution is already making this cell phone come off to a great start. Inside of its guts, the N40 Pro takes its brainpower from MediaTek's MT6771 chipset, aka the Helio P60 that, when clocked, gets up to 2 GHz. For storage options, the N40 Pro includes 6 GB of RAM and 128 GB of internal storage, which can be further expanded up to 256 GB via an SD card. In the camera department, there are 4 lenses on the rear, of which the main snapper has a 20 megapixel Sony lens, along with 8 megapixel ultra-wide snapper, 2 megapixel depth, and 2 megapixel macro sensors with dual LED flashes. For the selfie cam, there is a 16 megapixel lens with a dewdrop notch overhead. The device does come with dual SIM slots and provides 4G Volt network on both SIMs. Additionally, the phone does have a side-mounted fingerprint scanner, which is actually pretty snappy and is right up there with some of the more flagship phones you find with fingerprint scanners. Now, what I think is probably the most impressive thing about this phone is that the battery power comes from a, get this, 6,380 milliamp pack. Seriously, even more top-of-the-line phones only come in at about 4,000 milliamps-ish. To put that into perspective, that's going to get you 28 hours of call time, 21 hours of gaming, 212 hours of music, or 24 hours of video. Mind you, that's not all in one, but if you did one of those things for a continuous amount of time, those are the hours that you would get. And not only that, but the juice that supports this battery is fantastic, as it gets up to 24-watt fast charging, meaning that you can easily go from 0 to half in just 45 minutes or less. And you'll even have Google Android 11 running out of the box with all the latest firmware installed, so that way you can turn it on and get going ASAP. Next up on the list, we have the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max. Now, if you're looking to up your budget phone game while getting as close as you can to a flagship device, then the Redmi Note 10 Pro Max is by far going to be your best bet for so many reasons. Starting off with its looks on the outside, the screen itself comes with a Super AMOLED display that has a jaw-dropping 120Hz refresh rate and HDR10 depth, all packed into a solid 1080 by 2400 HD display. It offers great viewing angles, the same saturation and depth of blacks that you would expect from an OLED panel, and with that buttery smooth 120Hz refresh rate, every single video that is played on there just feels so lifelike and really feels so crisp. Going inside the phone to the real guts of it all, the phone is powered by the Qualcomm Snapdragon 732G, which is a slightly souped up version of the 730G, accompanied by an 8GB of DDR4X RAM and up to 128GB of storage. Now, if you're somebody that's always on their phone and worried about the battery not lasting a whole day, then you're in luck. The Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro Max does have a massive 5020 mAh unit and is good enough for a day's worth of use, even with an hour of gaming and several hours of audio or video streaming. If you're not always looking at the screen, you could easily stretch that out to a day and a half or more. Plus, there's even an ultra battery saving mode, which helps to limit background processes and give you access to only 6 apps. Quite useful when you need to eke out as much screen time as possible. The box comes with a 33-watt proprietary adapter, which helps to deliver juice relatively quickly. A full charge can take you up to an hour and 40 minutes, whereas a 50% one can take you to 45. So even if you just need a quick pick-me-up throughout your day to eke out a bit more battery, this charger has got you covered. In terms of the camera, as you might expect a budget phone to skimp out somewhere on this and give you a poor camera option, but the Xiaomi Redmi Note 10 Pro Max does give you the real McCoy and then some. The main camera is a 108 megapixel f1.9 26mm wide lens, while you also get an 8 megapixel ultra wide that has a 118 degree field of view, a 5 megapixel macro, and finally a 2 megapixel field of depth. All combined, you'll be able to shoot either in 4K 30fps, 1080 at 30, 60, or 120 fps, or 720 at 960 frames per second. The front camera gives you a single 16 megapixel f2.5 wide lens that can shoot in 1080p at 30 fps with a solid photo or video every time you press the button. Last and most certainly not least, there is the Samsung Galaxy A22. While Samsung is known for their big flagship phones like the S lineup, and nowadays the Fold lineup, they do still make fantastic budget phones that are as wonderful as their flagships, but without the high-end cost. The Samsung Galaxy A22 is no exception to this, and the phone furnishes a giant 6.4-inch Infinity U Super AMOLED 90Hz 1080 by 2400 display with a 20:9 aspect ratio, along with a pixel density of 400 that boosts 900 nits of brightness in its HDR mode. In terms of raw power, the A22 5G smartphone comes equipped with a 7nm density 700 5G chipset, which handles all aspects of performance with precision. Also, the chip can push the limits when playing high-end games, although the overall experience is decent. On the other hand, the A22 4G smartphone has a 12nm MediaTek Helio G80 chipset under the hood, making gaming and multitasking feel smooth, all thanks to the 90Hz refresh rate. In addition to processing factors, you can choose phones in different storage variants. Starting with 64GB of space and 4GB of RAM, you can go even further with 6GB of RAM and 128GB of storage, or bump that up to 8GB of RAM with 128GB of internal storage, although that comes exclusively to the Galaxy A22 5G smartphone. Surprisingly, you're getting a dedicated secondary storage SIM slot to be able to push boundaries even further in case you like to hold a lot of music or photos. So there you have it, folks. Those are our top 3 picks for the most popular budget phones coming out in 2021. Which one do you want to pick up for all of your cell phone needs? And are there any budget phones that we've missed that you think should have been on our list? Let us know in the comment section down below, and if you enjoyed this video, please give us a big thumbs up if you like what we do. Plus, subscribe to the channel for more amazing reviews and content just like this. Not to mention that if you want to grab yourself any of the products that we covered in today's video, you can check them out in the description below if you want to pick them up. And if you want to check out more amazing product reviews by us, then go ahead and click on one of these videos here to be able to learn more.